Welcome to Pecan Grove. Today, just a quick update on the garden down the 60-foot raised bed. We took out the garlic and got a nice little haul of garlic from a subscriber, and we added lima beans. Now, I thought these were bush beans, but do you see? Looks like they're putting on runners. So we've got the just white, they come on green and they'll turn white later as they dry, but little green baby lima beans, that's what I planted here. This bed I got cleaned up. You see some of my green multiplying onions around the edges. The bulbs are all in here. They'll start coming out again soon, so we'll have green multiplying onions shortly. And we put our rosemary. I've got one at the end down there, one here, and we put a few sweet potato slips in here. And I did put some white okra to see if it's going to do any good, because these tomatoes will come out in a little while. But look at them. They are trees. The worms had started getting in the tops and stuff, and I found where they'd eaten a few tomatoes. But overall, we're trying to stay on top of it and getting some nice tomatoes. I've put up about 13 pints out of that, out of all our tomatoes. The carrots were slowly trying to take out what is not blooming, and the wind last night knocked over the blooms. But they're going to seed, and we do want to, I didn't get him. We do want to save seeds this year if we can, so I think some like this one right here, you see how it's trying to go to seed? So we've got to watch these. And that's what they look like when they bloom. Isn't that awesome? So I've pulled a few carrots. And we've got some big, small, all sizes. You can see in there, they're still. They look big, and then you get them out, and they are getting roots on them. So it's time to pull them all and get them out of here. We've put more okra here. Sweet potatoes all in here, and they're starting to run. Tomatoes here are doing really well. They're just loaded up. We're taking off tomatoes almost every day, at least 6 or 8 tomatoes. And like I said, I'm slowly canning a few. Today I got more yellow wax beans. I've put up over 100 jars, and I've got to do a canner today. There's my few little stash. I'll let them turn inside. 1 cucumber and 1 zucchini. These early girl tomatoes, they may look pitiful, but I've been getting tomatoes off of them. And you see how they're doing. I mean, they're not real big, but perfect for canning. They do real well in a hot water bath. And I've got several jars now, like I said, about 13. The zucchini's going crazy. We did find a few bugs, so I've treated them for bugs with the fish emulsion. The cucumbers are starting to climb. I'm just not getting as many as I was to start with, but they're starting to bloom again. So I've put up some deals and some bread and butter and some sweet pickles already. You can hear Danny mowing in the background. He's been mowing in here. We've got to take up these panels and get this down because the English peas are gone. The sweet potatoes are doing absolutely amazing. You can see in here how our sweet potatoes, now this end is not doing as well, but that row is doing better. But look at this. And this is the end that usually doesn't do as well. So go figure. Now Danny's replanted a few in here yesterday, so we'll see what happens, because it could have been just that they didn't have a good root or whatever. But the other end is doing better. This row's doing better. The jungle peanuts are doing amazing. The wind kind of got them. They're tall. They've got to lay down, and he's going to have to put dirt on them like this. But they're starting to bloom, and that row is just as full and pretty. My yellow wax beans, they're blooming. They've got little beans all over them. I mean, you can see all in here, blooms, little beans. this 2 rows has provided quite a few beans for us. Plus there's 2 raised beds in the high tunnel. My corn, well, we took down part of this fence here because we had to have a chicken pen. There was no point in buying more fencing. So we left the back, but my corn is just pitiful, guys. I might get a few little ears if the raccoons don't get them. That's what Danny's doing, is fighting raccoons right now. They got in the Danny corn last night and we rode around, but they still got a few ears. And look at this. This is happening in the Danny corn, and it's also happening in the sweet corn. The corn is coming out at the top. And our sweet potatoes here are doing really well right now. In the high tunnel, I finished with the yellow wax beans. Probably going to have 2 canners today. Got 1 purple bell pepper. The peppers are doing great. We've still got banana peppers. We're not quite taken off yet, but there's several all in here on those. You can see quite a few. The bell peppers are starting to put on again. My little mini, the worms had about devastated it, but got one here. I've got an orange one here that is turning orange, and that's what they're supposed to do. Got little bitty tomatoes turning. We've took worms off of it too. It's coming back out some. So the kitchen minis, the eggplant, oh my. Danny's been checking for worms and stuff. We're finding lots of tomato worms still, and a few army worms.
And a few army worms. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you just spray? Well, I used to be an organic gardener, and the sprays, a lot of people go, well, you can use BT, BT mutates in the human gut. That's where, you got a lot of leaky gut syndrome and stuff like that comes from. Even though they're organic, they're still a chemical pesticide.
And look at our okra Danny's brought over here.
Yeah, look, I transplanted this, and it was pretty good size okra when I transplanted it. It's actually
and
living.
Our bananas are doing great. They're looking amazing. Those tomatoes are.
But this, I have never in my life had to stake an eggplant.
He's been staking these eggplants all week.
Every time I turn around, I have to stake these things. I mean, they're just... Eggplants are everywhere.
And the one thing about it, eggplant is very hard to do something with as far as preserving. So we like them sliced and fried, air fried or whatever, oven fried.
I mean,
there's 2 on, well, one of them's too small, but one of them's probably big enough.
Well, I'm trying to, there's so many. There comes that point in eggplants that they all just get ready.
Yep.
And we don't want them when they get to be real big.
I don't like the big with all the seed in them.
Right.
I like them small.
Ow, there's a thorn on that one.
Oh, they have thorns. I found that out too the other day. Now you can make eggplant parmesan. That's usually what I do. I throw parmesan and breadcrumbs on mine. Season it up, slice it, put it in the oven, or you can fry it or whatever, but I usually do mine in the oven. I don't like to fry stuff. You can do, what is it called, eggplant with the, like, where you put it in spaghetti sauce type stuff.
Yeah.
Use it over noodles or whatever. You can add your eggplant to your spaghetti sauce. And I've canned that, and it cans pretty well as long as you pressure can your spaghetti sauce with your eggplant in it. That's pretty good.
Wanda, we got a lot of eggplant.
The one thing that we can't preserve very well.
Preserve well, we've got bukus of,
And there's one right there, and there's one in there. I don't know.
I'm gonna leave these. These can go another day or two. I sense a bad storm heading our way because
yeah, it looks like it.
It's getting really, really dark.
Yeah. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now you took off, and there's probably still at least a dozen on there.
There's more than that left on there. And by tomorrow there'll be that many ready again.
Yeah. The beans are doing amazing. I just finished picking both beds of them. Danny's grapevines are starting to take off. You can see we're finally getting them. This bed is empty except for a tomato that's finally growing and doing here. And
yeah, this tomato sat here the whole time and did absolutely nothing.
It was a less than this.
Yeah, it was a little teeny plant, and when we took out the English peas,
it kicked it.
It took off.
So we're going to let it grow. We're going to take this trellis out.
Yeah.
And we've got a trellis to go in here
we
from.
We have a new Vego trellis to go in here.
Yeah, from Vego. And we're going to replant probably this week sometime. The bananas on this side's doing good.
Yeah, they're actually kicking it.
The flower on this end's doing good. We're going to leave it. These are the beans that I planted. These were, yeah, black-eyed peas.
Black-eyed peas.
Already wanting to get rust on some.
Yep, got to get that off of there.
So I usually take those out when I see it.
It might have to do with the heat that we've been experiencing.
Yeah. And then this is our yellow squash. They're doing okay. See, here's another.
Yep. And that one. Yeah, it's...
But now the squash, we've not had any. The tomatoes here's got to be picked. I haven't got those yet. But look at this. Show them. Look, we got a cantaloupe or two right here.
Where are they at?
One's right here.
Oh, there's one right there, yeah.
Good size. A bunch of little ones I noticed, and there's more big ones.
I've been checking on them. I've been busy with other things.
Right here.
There's one that knows where everything is.
There's another little one right in there.
There's a little one right over here.
A little bitty small one.
Yep.
I'm waiting on these.
Now we love cantaloupe. Now that's one thing we like.
Now I never liked cantaloupe till I freeze dried it, and I got. There's another one. See?
Look at that.
They're all in here. And
now this was that Vego cantaloupe that the freeze got. That we swore would never live.
And it is beautiful.
I'm trying to look at the name of it here because we got the card here with the name in it. Ambrosia.
Yeah. And it has taken over this. We finally got all the radishes out of here, and it's just took the bed over.
Yeah, it's taken that
and our tomatoes are doing okay, even though the worms got some and we've had problems. They're still.
Well, it just goes to prove that the theory that you don't have to have leaves to grow tomato. You're not growing leaves. You're growing tomatoes. They say all you need is what's in the very tip top, and you can really take all the rest of the leaves
So all
off.
these is fixing to come off.
Yeah, these are. And no stink bug bites.
I've only found one in the other garden that had a stink bug. The first stink bug bite on tomatoes.
This year.
Yeah.
Look at this.
What?
Now they're not
6 of them.
Yeah, they're not these big old giant ones, but for canning,
they're perfect for canning.
I've done canned
about 13 jars so far.
And here's another one over here.
And that one's a little bigger, so I'm a different variety.
Look at that. Oh, it's the rain got to it.
It's
not rain, but the water.
Yeah.
You know, it grew too fast, but it'll still can.
Oh yeah.
It still can.
Make a sandwich.
Well, definitely do that.
And look at my little tomatoes.
God, this thing was planted back in February when the temperature was in the 20s. I told Miss Wanda when she bought this, I said, that thing will never make it.
Look how tall.
Look at it now.
And it is just loaded, and I probably have 2 dozen already in the house, and there's bunches of them in here already.
Yeah, you got to look hard to find these.
Now he's got plenty of tomatoes.
And I'm not sure I got them all yet.
Now look at the strawberries behind you. I've been finding strawberries occasionally in there. You have to hunt, but they're all in there.
Well, you want to grow your plant the first year, so that's the thing.
It is beautiful.
It is pretty. I saw his manure down between the branches of the tomato right there. I saw where he'd use the bathroom.
So that's how we find them if it's not nighttime.
Yeah,
and our chickens, oh my, watch.
These chickens right over here love these worms. We got the tomatoes that's come up in the watermelons here. I stuck some things in there. I just ain't had time to
We hadn't tied them yet, but look at the watermelon.
Look at the watermelon. This was a watermelon that we didn't think would ever live.
There was 2 of them, and they were from Vego.
They went through the freeze.
They got here It was freezing weather. They got traveled in freezing weather. Looked pitiful. You can go back and watch our video, but look at them. The two things we did not think would grow, the cantaloupe and watermelon, is doing amazing.
They are just doing
And I'm sure there's some in there. I just hadn't found them. There was bees in them this morning with the...
Ooh, look at the breeze coming through.
Look at the nice breeze.
Cloud coming up, I guess. But I'm going to try to throw it from here. I'm going to see if I can
let me turn and see. That's one reason we got the chicken pen.
I put the chicken pen this close to the high tunnel.
They love their worms. Danny's been throwing, he probably threw 4 or 5 this morning.
Oh, I've been more than that. I threw probably a dozen in there. Look at them. They love them worms now. They're a little makeshift chicken pen out of a dog pen.
And they all over you, feeder, your...
Yeah, my food.
He put the food in there too in a metal garbage can, and they stay on the garbage can.
Yeah, I'm trying to just keep it where it's easier on us. We don't have to,
go different places.
The water hose is hanging right there. The high tunnel's right here. We got water handy. We got feed
I hadn't moved
handy.
their big thing in here. I got to do that. I forgot.
Yeah, but so far, everything's working out real good. Yeah, it's all blooming, isn't it? Isn't that nice? Look at that. It's all doing well. Actually, 3 stalks, 4 stalks of it. The thyme, boy.
Oregano.
Oregano.
Now, the center of it did kind of yucky. I don't know if that's because you put that in and I'm not watering the whole thing.
It ain't got enough water, I can tell you. I can look at the leaves and tell you it don't have enough water.
You got to change the emitter.
I got to change the emitter. It's the wrong kind of emitter.
We're going to all red top that sprays out.
Worm from way over here.
He is spotting worms going and coming. He's got good at it.
I mean, the best way to find a tomato worm is from a long distance. When you get right up on a plant, you can't see that sucker for nothing. But if you get off at a distance and look at it, you'll be able to see him really, really easy, because he doesn't fit the contour of the plant. You right up here, everything looks the same. Okay, guys, I just got out here with Ms. Wanda. I got some critters in my cornfield already, okay? And that don't make me happy. So I've been up there this morning. The wind, actually, a little downburst of wind hit on one end of it and kind of leaned some of it over. And it didn't blow it down, just kind of leaned it over. Well, got a couple of critters that kind of pulled the ears off of it because they're just about ready to eat. And it never fails. They come when it gets like that, and it just irritates me to death. I've been up there, taking out some of the stalks that they'd eat the corn on, throwing it over to the cows, and trying to work on my shop in the mornings while it's cool. It just ain't possible for me, I don't think. Then I look out here, Miss Wanda's, she's been down to 60-foot raised bed garden all morning. And then I look out here, and she's in the high tunnel, and I said, well, let me just stop and see what's going on. I come in here, she's got a bucket full of beans. She's got pepper. She's got a bunch of tomatoes. I helped her pick the tomatoes. I got a better eye for tomato worms than she does, so I go through and I've been looking for tomato worms and enjoying watching the chickens just devour them. But we just been kind of, this morning, looking at how the Lord has blessed this high tunnel and the Vego beds. One thing I want to show you about one of our processes right here. I know Ms. Wanda probably hadn't thought about this, but this Vego bed right here, I want y'all to look at it. You see how deep the dirt is down in it now? When we, the chamber bitters, I hate them things. They're cursed to the deep south. We had this thing up here pretty high with soil when we first put these beds in here. And I went to the bait shop, and I got like 10 or 15 boxes of red wigglers, and I brought them out here, and I put a box in each Vego bed in this high tunnel. And now you see the soil down. What has happened here, and people wonder why our crops grow as crazy as they do. Those worms are composting this soil down and making worm compost in the bottom of it. And these plants are actually feeding off of the worm compost. And as they eat, what happens is the soil keeps going down because they're eating it. we can pull up a plant here. Lots of times, we pulled up some plants here the other day. And look at this. I want you to look at this right here. Look, I just rubbed the soil back and look at the size of them.
And if we wanted to go fishing?
Oh, yeah, and then look, that's just right here on top of the ground. And it don't matter where I go, look at this. Look at that. I mean, guys, people talks about organic farming. I used to be an organic farmer. And there's ways to do this that's really, really easy. The Vego bed, we have this weed fabric underneath it. We have hardware cloth. We have cardboard. We have regular soil. We have lime. We have, oh, I left one out of the ground. Can't do that. We have fireplace ashes. Y'all seen us. We did the soil analysis on this from Grower Solutions. We put in everything that they need, and then we throw those worms in there. And look, it ain't hurt them worms. Them worms are doing fine in here. I use ammonium nitrate in a granular form in here to boost my nitrogen. Gives me calcium, gives me nitrogen. Guys, I have had absolutely no problem. These plants don't know the difference between organic and non-organic. It's not hurting my body. I mean, the plants are taking it up. They're utilizing it. The worms are giving me my my compost. My end goal is to get this bed full of dirt and full of worms and have nothing but compost from worms in the bottom of it, so that I don't have to do a lot of fertilization in the future. All I'll have to do is come through and possibly add a little bit of nitrogen or maybe a little wood ash or something like that. I mean, now, does it mean that I'm constantly having to add soil back to the bed? Yes, I'm constantly having to add soil to the bed. But you know what? When I add soil to the bed, I'm putting more living microbes from the earth back into this bed, and my plants are utilizing it. We are doing exactly the same thing with the mineral tubs. A lot of y'all ask me what these black pots are. We raise cattle. These are protein tubs. They have minerals and protein in them for the cows, and when they get through with them, I come in here and drill a series of holes like 4 inches up from the bottom of them on all of them. And I fill them with some soil, and then we only use, so far, unless something drastically happens, and we're not sponsored by these people or nothing like that, but I use Schultz potting soil. That is the one potting soil I have found that seems to really do well in our climate. Now, I'm not saying it's the best everywhere in the world. I don't know. All I know is what works for us here in the Deep South. Schultz potting soil, I probably bought an 18-wheeler load of it in the last few years. And I mean, I can't argue when I mix it with our sandy soil here in the Deep South, it really does do a fantastic job because it's got time-release fertilizer in it. And you can look at any of these plants in here. There's Schultz potting soil mixed in with regular soil. Let me add this. Where more people make a mistake when they're doing raised bed gardens is they put 100% compost in all their beds. That is not how it works. You need to put from what works for me best here in the Deep South. Now, this may not work. The rest of the country may not work like that. But in the Deep South, we put 4 parts soil, 2 parts compost. That's what works good for us in the Deep South. If you put 100% compost in your bed, you have no minerals. You have
fire ants.
Well, you do have fire ants. In the Deep South, you have fire ants. That's, Ms. Wanda is 100% accurate.
Because we put rabbit manure, and everywhere we put rabbit manure, we had fire ants, and we had to get them under control.
Yep. Every bed, we put rabbit manure in every bed except the mineral tubs, and we had fire ants come to it almost instantaneously, and we had to deal with that issue. Now, once the rabbit manure broke down in the soil, there's no more fire ant problem. But that's what, you take this tub sitting right here. This tub sitting right here is full of rabbit manure. If I was to pull that lid up right there, that's what's in that tub, rabbit manure. We'll go back occasionally. I'll take a shovel. I'll sprinkle some on top of the bed here. And it doesn't seem like when I just sprinkle a little bit that we have a problem. It's when I fill that whole bed about that deep full of rabbit manure and composted it in, that's when we have problems in the deep south. Now, you people up north may not have that problem, but down here, fire ants is a big time issue. But you know, I just wanted to mention to you about compost. Compost is great. Don't get me wrong. It is fantastic. And we have a pile on the other side of our property over here that's about this tall, probably 10 feet in diameter. I'm constantly adding to, making my own compost. And what I do, because these worms we put in these beds love compost, I'll bring a 5-gallon bucket and I'll sprinkle it around in one of these beds right here on top of the soil. And then I'll cover it up. And because you don't ever want to leave compost sitting on top of the soil. Because the sun, once it dries it out, it sucks all the nitrogen out of it. It soaks anything out of it that's any good. It just gets it out of it. So you want to cover compost up as soon as you put it in the bed. Turn it in. Let your worms, let your plants, let all that stuff enjoy the compost now. And guys, one thing in this world I'm passionate about, okay? That's about what goes into that soil. Lots of people talk about getting cow manure, goat manure, sheep manure, horse manure, hay. I don't do that unless it comes from my property. Because Wanda and I got burnt with Grazon one year, and after talking to Dow Chemical Company and listening to what they had to say about Grazon, I don't ever want that mess on my property again. And the thing that scares me to death, people everywhere around, not necessarily here, but farmers that I know that raise hay, they all spray Grazon. I mean, everybody I know that raises hay sprays Grazon. And I try to talk to them. I'm like, do you know what you're doing to your soil? Oh, in 3 or 4 months it'll be fine. I was like, no, you better call Dow Chemical and talk to them people. We're talking years before that mess comes out of your soil, if it ever does. So watch out when you buy any product from a store that has cow manure mentioned in it, or even this new sludge stuff that's out there. Because with the new sludge stuff, you're ending up with the forever chemicals in it. So be very careful, guys. Okay, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get back to work. I just wanted to get on my little rant with you for a few minutes there about gardening. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for working with us here, and thank you for just watching our channel. We really appreciate that, and ask that you do subscribe to Pecan Grove if you're not subscribed. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove.